I just got a haircut and I look pretty fresh. So welcome back to my channel where I only do a video whenever I get a haircut and shave so that I actually look presentable enough to be on camera. Just kidding. Welcome back to my channel, guys. My name is Sam. I'm a filmmaker based in State College, Pennsylvania. If you're new here, which a lot of you are, thanks to this video, somewhere up here, it kind of popped off, and a lot of you I know have found my channel because of that video, and I'm just stoked to have you here. I'm really pumped about the community that's kind of being built around this channel, around releasing content like this. I've met a lot of really awesome creators and filmmakers through YouTube, and it's just really cool to be connecting with people and, like I said, building some community around our creative interests and these kind of videos. So with that, I want to jump into a video here that I get asked about this a lot, and I know a lot of the people that watch my channel are kind of freelancers, or they have some side hustles in photography and filmmaking. So this is a pretty relevant topic, I think, to explore, and that is how to price your video and photo work. Now, I don't claim to be an expert in all things business, but or anything business for that matter. But with that, I am a full-time filmmaker and photographer, and I think I owe more of that success, especially early on when I was just getting going, more to my sort of skills and acumen as a business person than I do my skills as a filmmaker or photographer, because we all know what it's like just starting out. You ever gone back and looked at your work from the beginning of your journey? Prodigy, I was not. So with that, I think I've kind of accumulated some sort of experience to be able to share with you guys and hopefully help you figure out how to price your photo and video work. Yeah, let's get into it. Step one, you have to establish a baseline for your pricing. The beauty of being early on in your journey and maybe doing this as a side hustle or freelance is that you don't necessarily, or you shouldn't, I guess, have a certain amount that you have to charge for video projects. So that gives you the freedom to kind of play around with and explore and find the right numbers, find the right prices to charge for your services. And there's a lot of variables that goes into finding the right price. You know, the market that you're in plays a big role, your skill level, the competition, all these things. There's a lot of different things that play into finding the right price. But with a little trial and error, I think it can be pretty easy to find sort of a starting place, kind of that baseline that I was talking about as to what you should charge for your photo and video work. And I'm going to give you a little kind of tip, if you will, on where to start. And that is, whatever if somebody's asking you to shoot a project, whether it's a wedding video or maybe a social media piece for their business or a commercial, whatever it is, take the number that you would be comfortable for charging for that project and then double it. Just double it, and then ask them for that and see how it goes. If somebody's asking you to shoot a wedding film and you think to yourself, yeah, I would shoot this wedding film for $1,000, quote them for $2,000 and see what happens. If somebody's asking you, like I said, to shoot a social media piece for maybe their business and it's like 30 seconds long and you're like, yeah, I'd shoot that for $400, quote them at $800 and see what happens. And the reason we double the price like that is because when we're quoting prices to clients, we have a tendency to undervalue ourselves, especially when we're starting out and we're not quite used to doing this. We're not quite used to quoting prices. We have a tendency to undervalue ourselves and not ask for enough. And what you need to remember when quoting prices to clients is that we're not quoting them for the value that we see in the work that we're doing. We're quoting them for the value that they will see in the work that we do. And that's important to remember because it's not uncommon to work with clients who see more value in you than you see in yourself. And those are the clients that you want to work with, because the alternative is to work with clients who undervalue you and don't value you for how you see yourself. And I promise there's no amount of money in the world that makes it worth working with somebody who undervalues you. I've gone down that road and it's never fun. So those are the kind of clients that you want to avoid, and you want to gravitate towards the clients that see more value in you than you see in yourself. That's going to help you grow. That's going to help you progress. It's going to help you take your career and your business further. So that's why we automatically just double that price. And don't worry about charging too much, asking too much, leaving money on the table, because that's where step 2 comes in, which is to evaluate the feedback that you're getting from those clients or potential clients and adjust your price accordingly. Now, this takes a little trial and error as well, but a general kind of rule to follow is that if nobody is booking you at the price you're quoting, then you probably need to lower your price. The market you're in doesn't support the product you're trying to provide for the price that you're asking. And conversely, in the contrast, if everybody is booking and nobody's giving any pushback on the price whatsoever, you need to raise your prices and ask for more. And the reason this is important is because we want our clients to be thinking about the price. We want there to be some pushback, because whenever our clients stop and actually consider the price, they start to think about value, and they start to consider and ponder their expectations and really consider, well, what value am I getting for this price? What about paying this much money makes this worth it? And we want our clients to be thinking that way, because it starts for them to develop expectations for this project. And the more clients you work with, the more projects you end up doing, you'll start to realize that your clients having expectations is crucial to you giving them an experience that goes above and beyond their expectation. You need to start priming them early on, and price is the very first place you do that, to start having expectations and certain things that they know that they want. Because when there's clear-cut defined ways to meet your client's expectations and exceed their expectations, that's how you ensure that you end up with a happy client that will go out and tell all their friends about the service that you provided to them, to the product that you provided to them, and that will help you grow your business. And it's worth mentioning that it's important for you to manage your clients' expectations and to really define the scope of the project. If you don't do this, you'll run into situations where you find clients who they're willing to pay the price that you're asking, but they're willing to pay that price because what they are thinking they're going to get out of this project is so far beyond and out of scope for the amount that you quoted. So it's really important to have clear communication between you and your client to really figure out and make sure that you guys are on the same page as far as what is going to be provided, what the expectations are, and to make sure that you can meet those for the given price. But that leads us to our next step, which is to do a little bit of math. And this is where, now that you've established your kind of baseline price, you've adjusted it so that you're bringing clients in, you do a little bit of easy accounting to break that price up into a formula that you can take and you can apply to any project, any scope, any scale, and make sure that you're charging the right amount of money for that project. And with that, there's 3 areas. There's 3 things that you really need to be breaking these quotes down into. The first is hours, the amount of hours that the project is going to take. You need to charge for those hours. The second thing is gear costs. You need to be charging for the gear that you're using on shoots. And the third is markup or profit. Hours is pretty simple. You take the hourly rate times the amount of hours it'll take to do the job, and that's your price. Now, there's multiple different ways to figure out what your hourly rate should be. But if you're freelance or side hustling, doing this on the side, a good place to kind of start your hourly rate might be to think of it like, if you were doing this full time, what do you need to make? If this was a 40-hour-a-week paycheck, what do you need to make per hour in order to make this feasible? Next, you need to consider the gear costs. Now, you probably own the gear that you're using to shoot these projects, but things break, gear needs replaced, you want to upgrade, all these different things. And if you want to upgrade to that new shiny thing that's about to drop in 6 months, you need to be charging for the gear that you're using on these projects. Otherwise, that money to upgrade is going to come right out of your pocket. And that's how businesses lose money. You're just going to eat those costs unless you're charging for the gear that you're using on these shoots. An easy way to know what to charge for gear is to go on, like I go online, I use lensrentals.com and lensprotogo.com, hashtag not sponsored. And I go on whenever I'm pricing or putting together a quote for a job, I go onto these websites and I figure out what the gear that I'm going to need for this particular job would cost if I was to go rent it for the duration of this project. So I'll go on, I'll look at cameras, lenses, monitors, audio, lighting, light stands, tripods, gimbals, drones, all this stuff that I would need to complete the job. I'll go on and I'll find how much it costs to rent per day, and then I multiply that amount over the duration of the project. If it's 1 day, if it's 2 days, if it's 4 days, whatever, and I get my cost for the gear for this project, and then I put that in the quote. The idea is that if you owned none of the gear necessary to do the job, what would it cost you to go out and rent that gear in order to do it? Because the gear is just the tools of the trade. It's one of the costs of doing business. And if you're not accounting for that in your quotes, you're going to be losing money. And when it comes time to need to buy new gear or upgrade or even rent gear, you're going to eat those costs and you're going to be losing money. From there, the final thing to consider is markup or profit. And this is where a lot of freelancers I find get tripped up, because when you're a single member organization or just freelancing on your own, any money that comes in is profit. After all, we're taxed that way, right? If you're a single member LLC, a sole proprietor, any money that you make gets taxed. So marking up what you're already bringing in kind of feels like double dipping, but let me explain a little bit. Think for a moment that you own a production company that has a couple of employees. You've booked a project, you're sending a cinematographer out. This particular cinematographer, you might pay $40 an hour. It's an 8-hour project. So, as per your billing, you bill 8 hours at $40 an hour. That's $320. So right off the bat, you're billing for your hours. And then this particular client wants this product delivered in 4K. You don't have a 4K camera. I know it's 2020. We all have 4K cameras, but just play along for now. You don't have a 4K camera, so you have to rent a complete camera package, lenses, the whole works in order to make this project happen. The camera rental, say, is $1,800. So you have $1,800 for the gear. You have $320, 8 hours times $40 per hour for the hours. So you bill this client at $2,120. You wouldn't know this, but I have like 4/5 of an engineering degree. You bill this client $2,100, $20. The project goes off without a hitch. The client's happy. The project looks great. Bada bing, bada boom. But wait, you have passed that $320 for the hourly rate onto your cinematographer as a paycheck. You rented the camera gear. So now you've broken even and you don't know how you're going to pay to keep the lights on at your studio, or how you're going to afford hard drives, or how you're going to upgrade your editing machine when it dies, or all this stuff. So that's where markup comes in, right? Markup covers the overhead of your business and then some. So you can cover unexpected costs and all these different things that creep up. Taxes shouldn't creep up. Don't let taxes creep up. That's a way to really screw yourself. But you get the point. Profit or markup and profit are the same thing. You mark it up to make a profit. You need to be marking up your services in order to make money as a business. A way I like to look at it is even though I own my business, I am employed by my business. So I charge for the hours. I take that as a paycheck. That's my paycheck when I go shoot a project. I charge for my gear. That goes into an account that I use to rent gear when I need to rent gear, upgrade gear when I need to upgrade gear. It gets used for gear related expenses. And then there's my markup or profit, which goes into a business account, which covers all those other The markup covers all those other expenses that you don't necessarily think about. The music licensing, the website hosting fees, like I said, the bills, the lights, all that stuff. That's what your markup covers. And then hopefully, if you're doing it right, you have some left over as a business asset. You can take a bonus. If you have left over from the markup of a project, you can take a bonus as the owner of the business, profit sharing if you have employees. There's all different kinds of things you can do with that. But the important thing is, if you're not marking up your service, at the end of the day, I guarantee you're losing money. So that's it, guys. That's how I price my work. You throw some prices out, you see how people respond, you adjust accordingly. And then after you've gotten some solid feedback, some solid data, you have some clients under your belt, you start to break that price down into hours, gear, markup. That way, no matter what scale the project that gets thrown at you, if you have somebody reach out and it's a big corporate client and they want a whole series of training videos, or you get somebody to book you on a documentary shoot or all this stuff, bigger projects that you might not be accustomed to, you're not sitting there twiddling your thumbs wondering, how do I quote this? You have a formula. You know, this is what you charge per hour. This is what your gear costs in order to show up and shoot a project with your gear. And this is the markup. So it gives you a formula to be able to determine any scale of project what you should be charging. So I wanted this to be a short video, but we all know at this point that I am nothing if not long-winded. So I hope it was concise enough for you guys to learn something. I felt like I was all over the place, but there it is, how to price your video work. If you guys liked this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you like this kind of content, go ahead and subscribe. I've got some videos coming out that I think y'all will really like. So that's it, guys. I appreciate it. Leave me a comment. Let me know if it was helpful. I really appreciate you guys. As always, we'll see you in the next one. Much love. Peace. Is it done?